Hello, everyone. My name is Roopa Sunku, and I'm the Chief Evangelist at Touch a Life. And TALRadio English brings to you another episode of Career Elevations. I'm extremely excited to introduce to you a very enigmatic and royal descent family member, Dr. Nasir Ali Khan. Welcome to our show, Doctor.
Thank you very much. Honored to be on your show.
Absolutely. Pleasure is all mine. So let's start off with giving me a little bit of an introduction of what you're doing today and telling the listeners of your journey this far and your multitude of experiences that you work with at one single time to success.
Thank you very much for the invitation. I'm honored to be on your show. And right now I am wearing a couple of hats, I can say. One is I'm the Consul General of Republic of Kazakhstan for state of Andhra and Telangana. We work with the government of India and government of Kazakhstan on some bilateral relationships, and India imports oil and uranium from Kazakhstan. 80% of uranium to India comes from Kazakhstan. So that's the major import, and export is basically IT and pharma from India. But there's a big gap between import and export. We import about 2 billion worth of material from Kazakhstan. The export is only 300. So the government of India is interested in increasing the export and bridging the gap. That's the assignment I have as a diplomat. And on the other hand, as a businessman, I run a company. We are into luxury housing. We are into low-rise housing. We have an integrated project where we are doing a project which is clean, green, and healthy living. So we have independent houses with the project has sports and recreation facilities apart from housing. In sports, we have various kind of. We have a golf course, but as you know, India is very famous for cricket. So we also have a full-fledged cricket ground in our project. Then on the recreation side, we have the salon, the spa, the theater, and we also have outdoor gym and a children's play area and things like that. That's the housing side. And currently, we have tied up with the Forestry Innovation Investment, which is the government of British Columbia. Part of what we are doing sustainable housing. We're making houses out of wood. So wood is biodegradable, recyclable, reusable, eco-friendly. And more importantly, we are doing this because it's carbon negative housing. Because of this global climate change and the natural calamities which have been happening, so the focus is more on climate change. So all the countries are signatory to Paris Accord. So we need to be carbon neutral by 2050. Some of them have more time. Most of them have to be neutral by 2050. Carbon neutral. India has a little more time to 2070. So that area we're working in housing. So there's pollution in various industries. There's car pollution, air pollution. There's pollution in power projects and all that. Housing also has a lot of pollution because we use concrete, so which produces a lot of carbon dioxide. So, and we also, this construction is dry construction, so we don't use water for curing, and we don't use sand, so we don't use much of natural material. And we use wood. Wood is also natural, but wood is the only material which can regrow. Out of most of the materials, which natural materials, you can't regrow that. Or wood is one thing you can do as regrow the wood. And Canada, we are buying from Canada. Reason being, Canada, the wood is highly regulated. The Forest Act is highly regulated, and the wood from Canada is legal, reliable, and sustainable. When you cut one tree, you need to plant three. That's the law in Canada.
Wow.
So it's more of reforestation. So that's my business. So this is the current one. But going back to my background, I was born in Hyderabad. I was born in an aristocratic family. We are basically from a place called Deccan, which is Hyderabad now. My father used to own a lot of land. When I was young, we had a lot of land, open spaces. Unlike today, we had a lot of open space. We were outdoor. Now, off late, the children are mostly indoor and they play on the gadgets. We never had all these gadgets. We were mostly outdoor, cycle, cricket. That was my background. We had a good life, but unfortunately, my father died early when I was in school, and my mother was a housewife, so she had to take charge and control of everything. And she was a great woman. I mean, all mothers are great. There's no doubt about it. But I was really impressed, and the way she took care of us, and the way she handled things from a housewife to handling so much of thing which was left by my father. So after I finished my education, I started my business of housing, and we did residential housing. We also built an IT park. I built a mall and a hotel, very successful. And then we diversified in 2000 into IT business.
Okay.
We worked with some of the US companies, and unfortunately, we didn't do well. We failed in that business. I lost a lot of money, but more than money, I lost 5 years of my time. And then I didn't know what to do, because it was a new business, and a business which I didn't know. I had to depend on people, my executives, to run that business, and that was more a intangible business. So at the end of the day, all the money we spent, all the money we invested was lost. So I had financial problem. Then I realized that I can't do a lot of things. First, I should learn what I can't do, and first understand, then see what I can do. Then we realized that brick and mortar and real estate is the business we've been in. We got back to the business, started this new company, which I'm talking about, the Clean Green Healthy Living. We've been very successful again, and we're continuing to do that business. That's what it is today.
Fantastic. It is such a nice whirlwind tour of your life so far. I want to recap some of the very amazing narratives that you shared with us today. First and foremost, drive your passion, drive it with knowledge and skill that you are familiar with. The second aspect that you shared with us is the fact that, wins and successes come by you, and sometimes you don't realize how you got yourself in that situation. Obviously, it's based on your fundamental passions and skill of being an entrepreneur and giving lifestyle that you want to afford to the larger community at large. But the most important, and I think I would take away a lot from that, is every time you have not succeeded, you actually learn from that, and you're able to understand and develop a system for yourself to come back, to bring back that success quotient into your lives. And those learnings and the reaction of people and the interaction of people is what has made that difference to you. So let me ask you, in terms of people looking at starting up a business and starting up a career, they often enough go towards an educational founding that they have within themselves, or a family business, or an internal passion that they believe is an innovative idea. You've shared so much about green energy, the new type of building. You gave us some facts about usage of sand and waterless construction and biodegradable products like wood. So taking you back to your academic fundamentals and starting point of your journey, please share some perspectives and concepts that went through your mind before you got to where you are.
I'm a management graduate. That's my background. But I got into real estate or business of housing because my family owned a lot of land. So I thought I can, I had the raw material. So, and incidentally, luckily for me, I was at the right place at the right time. When I started, there was a big demand for housing, and and one more thing is what very inexpensive. It was easy to sell. Today, India has become very expensive real estate, and what happens is when it becomes very expensive, it becomes difficult. Affordable. It's not affordable anymore because of the price. But that time when we started, we would sell an apartment for just 5 lakhs. So it was affordable, or a lot of people could buy. Today, it's become very expensive. That's a challenge of today. So we were successful because of various reasons. One is that we had the land of our own. Other thing is, there was a demand and it was affordable. See, it is basically timing, and that's what I tell them. Right place at the right time. Today, it is probably difficult for somebody to get into real estate because the land is expensive. There's a lot of. There was much less competition also that time. So that was the reason. And I think I was passionate about what I was doing. That's another thing. And
Yeah.
my advice is, one thing is for the young entrepreneurs, see, basically do what you like,
Mm-hmm.
what suits you, what you like, and persistence. There are two things: one is commitment and one is continuity. You
Yes.
have to be persistent. You should pursue your dream till then, never give up. I teach my staff and all that, please don't give up easily. Sometimes you'll have times when you think it's very difficult and all that, but that's the time you have to hold on to it and don't give up, never. And no is the easiest thing is to say no. Just don't say no to anything. That's what I'm saying. I keep telling them. So consistency and commitment are the two things. Like I keep telling them, commitment will take you to a starting line, and
Right.
consistency will take you to a finishing line. That's consistency is
Beautiful.
very, very important. So these are the very simple, basic things what I think are important in business. And to sum about, I think luck also matters to some extent. I can't say you can be 100% lucky, but hard work is also very important. I believe that you have to work hard, and the harder you work, the luckier you get. So you need to work
Absolutely.
hard. So these are the
Absolutely.
things I believe. I've been successful because I believe I was consistent at what I did. I worked hard for it. Everybody does. I'm not saying, and I was lucky because I was the right place at the right time.
Right.
And my failure also was because I didn't know the business. To be honest, I didn't realize that I should know what I can't do. I didn't think in that angle. I thought I could do everything, but I realized later that there's a lot of things I could do. So my failure was because I know I didn't realize what I could do. Anything I was probably at the wrong time, because when we started this business, then there was this 9/11 happened immediately after I started my business. So that
Right.
also affected a little bit. And we were dealing with the US client. We used to work with US companies, and we also had a voice call center where we were doing marketing, sales. So I realized that people who were doing a call center for technical were more successful, because in India has a lot of technical people. And if you're doing a marketing kind of a thing, trying to sell a product to an America from India, it's a tough job. Sometimes they
Right.
don't like it. Yeah,
That is
that's what.
fantastic.
So we realized later, and I think then, I realized quickly after 5 years, I realized that this is not my cup of tea. Then I went back to my original big, and thank God, luckily for us, we could catch up and come, make it up for what we lost.
Fantastic. See, the other interesting thing that I saw and heard from you is go back to diversify and go back to your own passion and interests. So, if I look at all of the different programs that you've talked about today, or businesses diversified in your area, you one talk about Kazakhstan import export, and then you're talking about British Columbia with the wood. And end of the day, it's because you have had the passion of being a builder yourself and coming up with the lifestyle in their home. And with COVID, like you mentioned, brings about a totally different sentiment on living and healthy living. So tell us how you kind of diversified with keeping that base or the home plate stationary to the real estate business, but kind of utilizing the bilateral relationships and all of the knowledge in terms of innovations. How do you bring that all into your scope?
Basically, working with government, I realized one thing. See, government doesn't have ownership, and the government doesn't have profit and loss. So they have a long-term interest. Government's interest is not money or quick, not even quick money. There's not money. They see, like when I work with government of Colombia, they're investing with us in India. The only reason why they're investing is not for profit, because of this climate change. They realize that
Right.
nature is important, is all powerful. You need to protect nature. Probably give a better world to the next generation. That's the interest of government. Government's interest is not so much to make a business and make a profit. So working
Right.
with government, I realized a lot of things that they have very long-term goals. They work at a macro level, whereas a
Mhm.
businessman, generally, no matter how big you are, you work at the micro level, and your interest is basically your employees, your family, your shareholders, or your profit. But the government has a larger interest. Government looks at various things. So working government is a different experience.
Mindset. Yeah.
And that's one side of the government. And That's what my business with government of British Columbia. If I Canadian wood, it's called Canadian wood. But working with as a diplomat with Kazakhstan is a different role, because it's more of bilateral and more of import export, government to government, taxation policies, what incentives government of India can give for import from that country, and what is the concessions you would want. Like I said, India imports 80% of their uranium from Kazakhstan. So, and also crude oil also from Kazakhstan. The import is quite high because of these two things. Export is very low, 300. Import is more than 2 billion, and import is less than 300 million. So we are trying to bridge that gap. The government of India has interest to increase the export of pharma and import of IT. It's easy to export IT from India because it's online. Because
Yes.
Central Asia, again, going by the geography, it's a landlocked country. So we don't have a port. So exporting from India anything which is bulk, it's a challenge, because it has to go through another country, Iran or something. That's another challenge we face. Working with government is very interesting. You have to work with various countries to understand how the relation. Because in diplomacy, there are two things. One is government to government relation. One is people to people relationship.
Right.
Sometimes the government to government relationship is very good, but people to people is not all that great. And sometimes the people to people is very good. The government to government is not all that good.
Okay.
And luckily, between Central Asia and India, both are very good. Government to government is very good, and people to people is much better, because people, they love Indian Bollywood music, songs, and Indian food. I tell the government whenever I meet the minister and all that, see, there is more than government diplomacy. There's soft diplomacy. There's food diplomacy. There is other diplomacy. Food, Indian food is becoming very popular, and Indian music and Indian movies. So that way we have good relationship with Central Asia. We work with them closely. That's a new experience. It's been in a Council General only for a year, but it was a great learning experience. Actually, I always worked as a businessman, which is a micro level. I said,
Right.
And
Right.
government is really a macro and really long term. 50 years is in a business you don't have a 50-year plan. But with government, you're living in a country like America. I'm in such a great country. The roads they built 50 years ago, they're so good even today. The infrastructure, all that they did, they had a really long-term plan. That's why things are so good and so in place. So governments have really long-term plans, and they don't have profit and loss ownership. This is the experience with the government. So I have a very varied experience with government, with business with government, diplomacy with government. It's a great learning experience.
Beautiful.
And I can help a lot of people when you work with the government. You can really help a lot of people in a lot of areas. Travel, jobs, business opportunity. So one of the reasons why I took an assignment is, one is to work bilateral, and if I can help my friends or somebody connected, that's one reason I took this assignment as a diplomat.
That's fantastic. Fantastic. I want to kind of close off with one last question. You spoke about so many aspects of global living, the natural resources, and more importantly, converting all of those factors into profitable entrepreneurial or bilateral businesses for you and yourself and for the community at large. So how do you keep up with all of this? I heard you talk about biodegradable, you talked about landlocks, you talked about import tax policies, the one tree felled to 3 trees being planted. All these various concepts are like all over, like inspirationally large topics and befitting to our green world and green economy today. So how do you keep up with this, and how do you suggest people learn about all of these different aspects, the micro, the macro learnings overall? So just advice to the young and upcoming entrepreneurs.
Yeah, I believe learning is a continuous affair. You can learn from different people. I'm learning so much during this interview from you. When I get these questions, I have to think for an answer, and also reply to you. So basically, you have to work with people, more than anything, and you need people. And to be successful in life, I believe nobody can be successful on his own.
Yes.
You need to succeed. If somebody thinks he's successful on his own, I don't know. That's not my way of thinking. I think I've been successful because of my because of my mother, my parents. Firstly, God, parents, then my friends, my suppliers, my contractors, And my customers and my friends, they've all been helped to me somewhere or the other. I know I've learned from them and they've been helped. So one is, when I want to talk about my success is because of a lot of reasons and because of a lot of people. I cannot say that I'm successful on my own. So that's one thing, part of the success. And when I work with these governments, work with these agencies, it's a new learning experience. Actually,
Yes.
this good housing is a new thing for us. New thing not only for us, for the country itself, because we don't have the technology. So Government of Canada is helping us with design, technology, and even build. And the staff at the site, even the engineers, they have provided the engineers from Canada because there's a new technology. So they've been helping us. I'm learning this business, and it's a learning curve. And I have the first mover advantage. At the same time, I also have the first mover disadvantage. Reason being, we don't have that manpower and the product available in India. Right now, I'm importing both technology, manpower, and people. But in the long term, and there's an advice from our government and Government of Canada also to have that locally. They are saying that you have to produce that material in India. You import wood and do the wood product in India, and they are willing to take our people to Canada and train them and send them back.
Fantastic.
And they also want to do the trainer program, and they would like to come and train some of the people. In fact, they've been kind enough to sponsor people with a ticket, with accommodation, with everything, because the government, they can do that. So the training of a people who they want to train is free, including food, accommodation, and all that. That's learning for me also. In fact, I personally went to British Columbia to understand this business before I started, to see the projects, to see people and all that. I thought that we have to give a better world to the next generation. So that's one more reason. And like I said, today the new luxury is health is the new luxury after COVID. So people have realized that health is important. Health was always important, but the focus is more now, I guess.
Yes,
yeah,
absolutely. I'm so grateful to you having spent these last 20 odd minutes with us, sharing beautiful nuggets of success and things to contemplate and consider within our own lifestyle, as well as the impact we want to leave behind as a legacy for our lives. So is there anything else that you would like to leave with our listeners on life lessons or something you would like them to ponder on?
In very general, I would like to say stay safe, stay healthy, take care of yourself. Health is very important. And, you have to be responsible citizens. So, and healthy people produce. So if you're healthy, you're productive. If you're not healthy, you're a drain on economy. Generally, for a country also, two things I believe are very important. One is education, other was health. So educate yourself, your children to the best possible, and keep your health at the best. So education and health is too important. So I would advise everybody, every listener to focus on these two issues, health and education. Stay safe, stay healthy, and take care of yourself.
Thank you so much, Dr. Nasir Ali Khan, for spending this time with us. And listeners, please tune in to Touch a Life TALRadio and listen to many more such narratives of successful people that can help you carve your future and your success on green earth going forward. Thank you again.